Games, board games. We might be talking about board games, but we're not gonna shout. We're going to talk about demoing. Lots of games having a bit of a fling, having a bit of joy, having a bit of fun. This is how life should be done, but we'll talk about exercise and other stuff too. Natalia Pazar is here to talk with you. Hello, good morning, Nat. I'm sorry, in the description I put your name as Natalia. Anyway, it's 10 a.m.
Right.
UK time for Busy Beats and Board Game Leather, and today meeting Natalia Pazar. You're one of a growing team of demoers for Lucky Duck Games. Your main profession is telling people to lift heavy things and telling them do this, and based in Bristol, like I've never really seen you in your natural environment, to be honest. We've only met each other at conventions, and it's always been lucky seeing you. You have such a wonderful exuberance, and I think you're a marvelous asset to have as the face of any team. But what would you like people to know about you if they've never heard of you before?
Yeah, so there's a layers like an onion. So
Everyone's
no,
got deeper
yeah,
and deeper, and you can keep going down
so
all the way
yeah,
to the core.
my main game has been strength training for about a decade now. And We've been running our studio with my partner, just making people stronger and healthier and happier in general. So that was the main game. And then the whole board game craze came not that long ago, actually. It was about 2018, 2019, because we had about 4 hours between the morning and the evening shift in the studio. And then we cracked out. I think the first game we cracked out was Charterstone, and then we just whooshed through it like one session a day in our 4 hour break. And it's like, hey, this is cool. Is there anything more like this? And then we started looking around and found a lot more. Other than that,
And at
I
some point, you got in touch with Lucky Duck Games, and were how did you hear about the opportunity for demoing?
I think that must have been through a Facebook group. Most likely, it was through the board game trading and chat group, because that's where what I pretty much glued to most of the time. And yeah, it was just a post about they're looking for brand ambassadors in the UK, and if anyone's interested, just send a short CV to. At the time, it was Sean, and yeah, and then we organized a video chat like this, and I ended up on their demo team.
That's
So
fantastic.
it was a really really lucky one.
And we'll talk a bit more about both of those things. And I think that, yeah, it's really interesting the combination of this burgeoning hobby and, but, strength training, even though it is the bulk of your income, it's no less of a hobby or a passion. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's also a bit of a lifesaver. So where I originally come from, so I did yeah, so I went to uni, I did science, yeah, I did biology at university. Yeah. So and I've had this kind of um yeah having the curse of a girl born in the 80s, of wanting to be super skinny, not being happy about my figure, all that beautiful body image issues that you can imagine. And then I had to wait until the age of 27 until I actually ran into a good strength trainer. And then I started realizing that it's actually not about how what I see in the mirror, it's about what I can do and how I feel. And
Mm.
and that became like I completely got hooked onto it. It was a bit of a story, just like with board games. It's like this thing works, and the mission that I want to be on is actually teach people, girls who were like me, that they were like, even got to the level of bulimia, anorexia, things like that, that it's not about that. It's about what you can do, and not what people see or what you see in the mirror or how they criticize you. So yeah, that's how I ended up doing this.
No, that's really cool, and I love you for it. But let's talk about what a typical day might be like for you. What have you been up to in the past few days? Recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights. Recent highlights, playing games and other delights. Recent highlights. So myself, I was hoping to have a friend over, but yeah, they weren't quite able to come over, but it's all happened today, which is nice. Ended up spending a lot of time outside. I started deciding, like, Mondays, I'm going to take most of the day off. Evening, having a work meeting, like in the night while I was having my dinner, with someone discussing a game about love for Now Play This, which is a London festival. And I'm trying to design, over the course of a week, a game about love, which involves, it's not a board game, it's an event game. It's throwing bits of wool to each other and making a web of your connections, like a literal web of your connections, if you know what I mean. And then we're still working out what should happen afterwards. Maybe people go around then severing those connections with actual scissors, if you know what I mean. Although, yeah, now I think about it, we might have to buy safety scissors for health and safety reasons. But I'm trying to get this thing at a stage where I can playtest it on Friday, playtest it again on Sunday, and then submit it, because the submission deadline is Sunday. So yeah, we're very close to the deadline. But yeah, that's been the bulk of what I've been up to. And a quick hello also to Alex. I hope you're generally well. So Nat, what have you been up to? What's a typical day in your life like?
It's always chaos, but normally the chaos starts at 5:30 a.m. in the morning, when I just keep smashing my alarm down to give me 5 more minutes. So we've got a 7 a.m. session in the gym. That's where we start, and I'm off this morning, which is awesome. But yeah, normally that's how we start. And then we put people through their paces, like have a good time, do some training with and then and then the afternoons is still the time when we have some free time between midday and 4, where we that's why I managed to crack up the short and sweet games, because anything that takes about 20 minutes we can crack out before or after lunch, have a quick game. It's really good. So I have right now it's a little bit different, because I have my dog, who we've seen at the very beginning. He's a total live wire, and I also have a guest dog with me who is the exact opposite. She's just sleeping at my feet, not moving.
Aww.
Sometimes I need to poke her just to see if she's still alive. We take them for a little walk. And pretty much that's my and then in the evening back to training, and then that is kind of the base, and then a lot of admin stuff, and then whenever there is a demo booked in, I go for that instead, and I give my partner or my other trainers the afternoon. So yeah, it is chaos.
Okay, so let's talk about the training a tiny bit. Do you have, I mean, how many people are working for you?
So it's mainly it's me and my partner running the studio, and then we've got
when you say partner, do you mean just business partner or
boyfriend, partner, life partner? Yeah, everything kind of. And then so we've been together for like forever by now, and we've got a few trainers now who work like very, very part-time. So 1 or 2 shifts a week, 1 or 2 mornings or afternoons a week. This has only been since November. So the previous year we've been running, well, solo, so just the 2 of us. And that's been a harsh one, because that meant Monday to Saturday, no days off. And now I've got three really lovely trainers who have been training with us for the longest has been 9 years. And then they decided, okay, we're going to do this certification and help you out. Awesome. That I'm very happy about. So we get a little relief every now and again.
That sounds just lovely, and congratulations on setting up your business.
Thank you.
What I do like to sometimes talk about here is board games. So talking about recent highlights, what was the last board game you played? And who would you recommend it to?
So last one was this little game called Cat Rescue, which is it totally flew under. Yeah, totally flew under the radar for me. It's like I didn't even know about his existence. I guess it's because it's not released or published by a board game publisher, but a book publisher. And it's so that's why I haven't seen it anywhere. But it's takes about 15 minutes, but gives you a bit of a head scratcher because you need to use quite so the rules are simple, but the strategy is deep. So it's a bit of a chess-like game in those ways, but it's super cute and it's cooperative. So yeah, it's like that one I would recommend it to somebody who literally just wants to exercise their brain quickly. So that was my latest play. Yep, exactly that one. And then the big one that I've that was my latest demo was Oros, which is like Lucky Duck came up with their first kind of deep strategic euro. Like it's a kind of bigger, it's one of those that do require some time, some commitment, a lot of head scratching. I did enjoy it. So yeah, it was. It's exactly. It's exactly the other side of the spectrum than Cat Rescue. It's just
pretty
give it
much.
a couple of hours.
I'm sure you could get heavier than Oros and lighter than Cat Rescue. I mean, there's even more extremes that you could delve into.
Yeah.
But it's, and I also like to sometimes talk about something that's a bit mundane, but is regardless a brilliant thing. Brilliant thing. What's a little thing which is brilliant? What would you like to nominate, Nat?
Little brilliant things. I would like to nominate weirdly scented candles. Just looked around. It's like I really like them because they're, you get those scented candles that are like all either fruity or flowery. And then if you go into like an alternative market, you will get this scented candle called witch brew or cemetery air or things like that. And then, they just bring a little magic to your life. So I really like that.
Yeah, I love that shout out to Weird Sense. And actually, one thing that did give me a little bit of joy over the Christmas period because I was completely out of commission and just I got all these. I don't know if you know Burt's Bees lip balm, and so I got lots of them with weird flavors. Like one was pumpkin scent, and one was spiced latte, and another one was like cucumber scent. So like it's like not just the typical things, and I really enjoyed that. Alex says apparently CMYK Games commissioned a new board game smell scented candle. That is awesome. And Alex also wants to give a shout out to Sushi Go Party. I've not tried it with the spoons yet. I mean, there's so much content in that game, but I look forward to trying it with the spoons another time, maybe on Board Game Arena if you're up for doing that. But there's so much to appreciate outside. And now is the time when I would like to encourage everyone to join me in asking Nat some questionably quick questions. Is the next section. It's not an interrogation. It's just a questionably quick questions section. Questionably quick questions. Books or podcasts?
Books or podcasts? Audiobooks.
Audiobooks. Okay, what's the last one you listened to?
Finished the Alex Verus series, all the 12 books, and it was amazing. So now Alex Verus series. So it's a book series about magic and magical society. And then started Rivers of London, which is on a very similar line, but a very different vibe.
Do you love fantasy?
Yes, and mainly what got me was urban fantasy. So something that is intertwined with our kind of world that we see. Yeah, Rivers of London. Yeah.
Would you rather have a duck-sized meeple or a meeple-sized duck?
I would love to have about 100 meeple-sized ducks and then put them everywhere in the bathroom.
But then where would you shower? Where would you bathe?
Just kick them out of the way.
I think this is animal cruelty. This is not okay, Nat. I mean, I'm disappointed in you. Anyway, moving on. Would you rather be a pigeon or a shark for a day?
I would want to be a shark. Always love diving, so.
And what is the heaviest thing you've ever lifted up?
Heaviest thing I ever lifted up.
I mean, I'm assuming it's weights. I'm basically just asking you for.
It was indeed a 100-kilo barbell, and the 20-kilo kettlebell overhead. So that.
Wait.
Yeah.
100
kilos. That's just lifting it off the ground. So that's.
But 20-kilo kettlebell.
Overhead.
So the 100 kilos, you didn't go like
no,
that?
No. I'm not that strong. No, just lifting it off the ground, standing up with it. That is enough for me.
What's so 20 kilos is the heaviest thing you've ever done straight up?
With one hand, yeah.
Oh, one-handed. That's. What would you give as one tip to someone trying to get fit and struggling with motivation to get started?
I would say 2. Just do it. Whatever, like, okay, sorry, Nike, but anyway, but yeah, anything you want to do, just do something. Second, find a trainer. It can actually help quite a lot. Tooting my own horn here, but yeah.
For sure. And when it comes to diet, what do you not eat? I mean, do you tend to avoid sugar and fat in your diet day to day?
No, I eat everything. I have been through my diet crazes, tried everything from my teens to my 20s, lots of different things. I went keto. Before that, I went low fat. I did a lot of different things. In all honesty, I eat anything apart from tripe. And the only reason I don't eat tripe because I find it disgusting. But anything goes in moderation.
Presumably, are you mindful of your, I don't know, calories? Are you mindful of, I'm probably not going to eat all this chocolate, or do you just allow yourself to literally eat whatever you fancy?
I try to fill my my eating with bulk it out with protein and vegetables, just energy levels and fullness and just like in general healthy. But I do allow myself the odd let's go to a coffee shop and have a cake. So that's I think it works differently for everyone. But for me, what worked is don't feel guilty about anything. But a treat is a treat. Treat it like a treat, and your main thing should be, mainly what they call healthy stuff. So,
I mean, the truth is, I think most of us know what's going. Alex says my friend goes running so he can eat lots of cake.
Fair enough. And that's the thing. Everything like this works differently for everyone. It's totally fine if they're happy that way. I am never going to push people into, you should be bigger, you should be smaller, be whatever makes you happy. Like I don't even do weight loss in my gym. What we do in the studio is just healthy movement and strength training. and you're whatever size you want to be. I don't mind that.
Quick hello to Xate. Nat, what are your first memories that you're willing to share? Nothing to do with board games, unless it is, but just your first memory of anything.
Oh, my first memory was I was still in nursery school, and it's a fairly painful one. But so I had this. My grandparents lived like kind of in a countryside area of my hometown, and my grandfather had loads of chickens and rabbits and things like that. He would go out to the grain store and buy like these 100-kilo bags of grains and pull it home on a handheld cart. So he told me, I must have been about 5, that don't touch the handle of the handheld cart. So I had to. That was the most painful experience of my life. I lost a fingernail and it was like bandaged up in nursery school. And I had this massive thing in my middle finger, like this massive white bandage that I had to wear for weeks. And I couldn't play properly. So yeah, that was one of my first memories of me being naughty and not listening to my elders, as I never did.
Yeah, and would you say that you've continued being a slightly rebellious person?
I'm horrible like that. Yeah, it's like if you tell me to not to do something, most likely I will want to try it.
It's kind of human nature. I mean, unless you train yourself, if someone says don't think of an elephant, you're going to think of an elephant unless you've done some previous training to avoid it. Maybe for you can turn elephant into a trigger word for thinking about a black cat, for example. I mean, I think that's the only way to do it. So, Xate says, by the way, please don't sing the next 3 answers.
Oh my God.
So the question is, what's your first board gaming memory? What's the first game you remember seeing or playing?
Don't sing the next 3 answers. Well, my first game ever I played was Monopoly with my family. And I really surprisingly enjoyed it. So Monopoly with my family, we always enjoyed the first bit, and then by the end of it, we were always like, do we have to finish it or can we just declare a winner? And then the other board game we played a lot was the frustration game. And I really loved that. And then I think
Remind me of frustration, please. Can you remind me what frustration is?
So frustration is the one where you've got like a kind of round-shaped like board path that, and then the round path leads into the middle of the board, which you need to reach. Everybody has four little meeples. You just roll with the die, step as many as you rolled with one of the meeples, and then if you knock each other out, the person who you knocked out goes back into their starting point. First person to reach all the middle with all four meeples wins the game.
Yes.
So, really silly, really simple, but
I'm looking at it and I'm wondering what the difference is between frustration and sorry.
It's the same. I think it's the exact same game.
Okay, it's just a different branding in different territories, or anyway. Yes, Alex says it's like Ludo, but you can knock people back home. Yes, that's exactly what it looks like from the pictures I'm seeing. Also, I don't know if sorry is a more modern name or a less. Brits say sorry so often it didn't make for a very interesting game title. Oh, maybe frustration is the British or European version and sorry is the American version. Anyway.
Yeah, I played it in Hungarian and we called it Who Laughs at the End, so that's different.
Who Laughs at the End? I like that. Let's talk about where you were born and everything. Where were you born? What was childhood like? Did you have a good relationship with your family and everything?
I did, yeah. So I was born in Hungary. I grew up well. I was born in 82, so that was before the Iron Curtain fell. But we did not experience much of the Eastern Bloc by then. We still have a couple of like retro memories, but really it's for us, it was when I was 7, the world opened up, and that was like that meant. Uh, oh yeah, so just an answer. Yeah, yes, I'm located in Bristol, but I was born in Hungary. So, yeah, yeah. So I grew up with parents who were extremely open to the world and wanted to see it all. So they took us on holidays. Pretty much mainly France, Greece. I remember we had loads of great holidays. So I'm very, very grateful for that. They were so I have a sister who's 7 years younger than me. So we have a massive age gap that, well, some people have even bigger, but I've found it's a huge age gap. But so for some reason, we always understood each other, and we could always
it's
play
big
along.
enough that when you're growing up, there's going to be a big disparity between you. Because, I mean, I've got about 10 years between me and all my siblings, 9, 10, 11 years. And so I was born after bits of time. And for sure, the first 10 years, there's a big difference, but it's reached a point at now where it's less about the age that we are and more about the personality.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I think with us, it's like she kind of grew up quicker and I took a few years back. So we just went and clashed in the middle somehow.
It says everyone can tell I'm the family baby. What brought you to Bristol? What brought you to the UK?
Good question. So originally, when I moved to the UK first, that was Portrush, Northern Ireland. And that was university, because I did, well, Hungary is a landlocked country, and I decided I want to be a marine biologist in a landlocked country. Not the most practical. So when I finished uni in Hungary, I was looking for a PhD position, and I got one in the Uni of Ulster. That's how I moved out to Northern Ireland, and then. And I did not finish that because I just realized that research is not really for me because it's not very social.
You're a social being. I feel like you're kind of like me. I can see you come alive when you're doing demos. I can see your excitement anytime you're demoing. Like, I think at the Here For Gamers convention where I was there the weekend, and I think you were just there for one day, but you were, anytime someone came over, it was great. I get to share the love of something that I enjoy with someone else. And I imagine it being the same at your studio where you're properly hyped up, and I would love to come and check out everything.
That's a bit the same. So I needed to find something where I can actually talk to people and meet people and just do something together. And then, sitting in front of a microscope is not my kind of thing. So, but yeah, so that's how I ended up in Northern Ireland. And then Bristol was, it was just, okay, let's move to a little bit of a bigger place. What looks nice? Let's go for Bristol. And it had a really good reputation. And I have to say, it didn't disappoint because it's just such a colorful, open, crazy city. I absolutely love Bristol for that.
And there's a few nice board gaming places, and I know Frank West is from there. And I don't know if you were there were you around during the City of Games conventions?
No, I missed those. I just got into the pole board gaming thing after.
So what was the first modern board game that you played? Was there a particular game that you can say, or a particular moment when you say, this is the moment when I fell in love with everything?
I think the first one I ever played was Munchkin, and I really liked Munchkin. But when I totally fell in love with modern board games, that must have been Istanbul.
Okay.
It was a few years after, and I think that was Istanbul was the first, which is like, wow, okay, more of this, please.
And when was that?
We already lived in Bristol, so that must have been 2017 or so.
So you joined the Facebook groups, Big to Cuck, and then you saw this advert for, yeah, and at this point, like, I'm just going to remind everyone to feel free to comment, ask questions, from like, follow, and get the other banner up. But you decided, hey, this is something that I love doing. And then you saw an advert from Lucky Duck saying, hey, we're looking for people to join our demoing team. To which you responded with your CV. You said, yes, please. Can you tell us a little bit about that demoing job and what it entails?
Yeah, so that was a really, really well a lucky find as well. Demoing job is what. So demoers, well, brand ambassadors here in the UK, we are kind of independent contractors for Lucky Dog Games. So we are pretty much we have a basic task, or the base task which we need to do is take these games to different board game stores. The original idea was demo it to the board game store staff and owners so they can recommend it to the customers, so they know a bit more about them. Then we expanded that to, but let's involve the customers as well, because it's a bit better for stores as well, create a little buzz. And that was, so pretty much that was the job description. And from then on, you do it however you think it's going to be best. So what I did was I started contact. First of all, I had to map all the board game stores, because some of them are not easy to find, I have to say. So I just went on Google Maps, asked in the board game trading and chat group about is there any board game stores you guys know about, and then I just created myself this little mapping Google Maps of all the listing all the game stores. And then came the sales part of the job, getting in touch with stores and convincing them that they do want to have me in there. So, and that is still I still find that one the trickiest, of getting in touch, scheduling the time.
The stores not, I mean, I found that if I ask a store, hey, would you like me to come over and demo some games that you can sell through your counter, they're always saying, yes, absolutely. And then it's really easy to work out a time. I mean, when I first launched In a Bind, this would have been 2015, 2016, I was just going to all the stores that I could until eventually I realized, well, it's not really worth me going to Aberdeen, because even Glasgow to Aberdeen is a really expensive bus journey. And if I'm going and then, yeah, on that journey, like sitting in the shop all day, I sold 10 games because people came in and then they were really excited by this game and then they bought it. And then at the end, I asked the shop owner, so how many would you like to keep at your store? And they said, well, I'll buy one. So I've sold 10 copies in one day and they want to buy just one. And so it's like, yeah, that just wasn't worth my time and money to travel there. But yeah, it says, that's because they're scared of you. Try asking when you're not wearing red. People say no more. But do you actually get people saying no to you?
Rarely. It's more like being able to cut through the noise. I'm guessing these people get loads and loads of emails and messages and things like that, and getting a response is the most difficult one. And I know I run a business and I get a lot of proposals and ideas and messages, and I ignore 90% of them as well, because they're like just noise. So yeah, it's about that. It's about being able to cut through the noise. Also being able to tell people that I'm not selling anything. Like, it's not even on me, because it's the distributors who sell the games. You order from them. That's not on me at all. I'm just really here to tell you about the games.
Because like, if you go and you get compensated for traveling up to, I mean, probably going from Bristol to Aberdeen would be too much time for you. I mean, I don't think you'd want to do that. But, you aren't going to have that same experience where you're being disappointed. And so you're not going to care how much they buy or how much they don't or anything like that. And so it's all upside. Whereas myself, yeah, if I go, I am willing to do free demos for you. But Yeah, honestly, there is zero obligation, but maybe they're kind of scared of thinking, oh, well, if I don't buy a certain amount, I'm going to disappoint this person who's just come in. Whereas, on a personal level, you must feel attached. You must feel presumably a little bit disappointed if it doesn't go well. I mean, whilst it doesn't affect you financially, you are going to, you have genuinely fallen in love with these games that you're demoing, I believe, and you do
Yeah.
have some sort of emotional stake in it. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, and it's always a tricky one because there is a range of games, and I found that I'm trying to not like I'm trying to show them very openly and not really push my personal opinion on them. They're all really good games, but one of them are good in one way, other ones are good in another way, and interestingly, different places find different ones really good and really good for them. So let's say a place that is more into like more into role playing,
Mhm.
they would be really biting on Destinies because it has that role
Sure.
playing and miniatures aspect. There's other places which are like, no, this is like it takes up too much time. I would rather go for King of 12 because that's something that takes 15 minutes. My customers are those who want that. So yeah, and it's always a bit like hard whenever I come up with a game. It's like, this is not that much, but maybe that one. It's like, but that's such a good game. So
Definitely all about finding the right thing for the right person. And a quick hello to Jessica Jane Sankey, who says, makes people exercise. I am interested in this. So, another super active person that I know in my life. Lovely to have you join, Jess. Yeah, I mean, I think that I would like to talk about the whole Lucky Duck thing a bit more. And
mhm.
the points of demoing. When you're demoing, what firstly, you demo in all sorts of environments. You don't go to the conventions, correct me if I'm wrong, where Lucky Duck is already there. Like you wouldn't be helping them at UK Games Expo.
I would.
Oh, you would.
You will see
Okay.
me there. You definitely can't shake me off UK Games. That's why I love that place. So
I totally apologize if I saw you at the stand and I completely forgot.
so yeah, that I will be part of their demo team there as well. And yeah, aircon. I'm going this year. I believe
Um,
the two of us are going with Mark. So
did you say
um,
that you're aiming for how many a month? How many demos a month are you aiming for this year?
so my aim is normally about, it's not that many, it's around 5 or 6, because that's how much I can squeeze in with my life otherwise, because it normally takes like, it might take just an afternoon to do a demo, but it takes like pretty much almost the whole day to travel there, set it up, come back. So yeah, um, that's as much as I'm doing right now. If I was a better organizer, I could probably do more a day, but I'm not a very good organizer.
So presumably you can't just keep going to your local shop
No.
and demo there. It has to be in new places, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
part of the contract
Yes.
that you can't. But when there's a new release, would you take that new release back to your local shop to say, "Hey, this is a hot new thing. Let's try it"?
Yeah.
And Oros has just come out now. Everyone, so can you talk me through um, at a shop, what tips do you have? Maybe I can learn something from you.
Um, oh, that's it's still a learning process for me. But when I'm there, I think it's a question of, well, first of all, knowing what the shop is like. 'Cause some places are so small that they barely have any demo space or anywhere where we could put the games out. So that's literally just putting them out to the counter one by one and chatting through them and chatting them through with the guys who work in the shop. Um, but I think with and with multiple games, it's a tricky one as well because you have to um, know which ones to put forward a bit more.
Mhm.
That's also mainly which are the new releases, but in terms of what yeah what do you want to push forward that yeah that would be an interesting one. I don't know. no, it's really about daring to push a little bit for people's attention.
Yes, absolutely. You've
I
got
think that, but you don't have any problems with that.
and I just want to read out a lot of what Jess has been saying, who's in bed just now, but is saying, yes, I am active, training for a half marathon. Wish I was running tonight, but happy to see you guys. By the way, I found a new game I like when I went board gaming last night. And what is this board game? Let us know. But it's lovely to have you join us, Jess. And yeah, sorry, we're more focused on the board gaming side. Like the exercise, we will get into it a little bit. I mean, do you think that when you're running like a studio, like you're running your class and you're telling people, does this get, are there a lot of cross transferable skills? Because I imagine there must be, like the confidence that you need to run a class mirroring with the confidence to say to someone, hey, sit down and play this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is down to confidence, really, and that's something that is not a given. You learn it over time. I used to be one of the shyest persons out there, so it does take a little time to actually believe that people want what you have. May it be the exercise that you want to teach them, or may it be the board game that you want to show them. That go there with the confidence of it's good for them. They will love it and they want it. And it's not like, oh, am I just bothering you with trying to catch your attention? That's my little inner voice trying to tell me all the time. So it's like, no, they do like you. They do want whatever you've got. So
I
yeah,
can totally empathize, and I think that as a self-publisher, that voice is louder because obviously this is your thing, and so you've got more of a, oh well, not only am I pushing the game, but I'm pushing me on people, and maybe that's too much. But I think that if you've got something where it's someone else's and a big publisher behind you, obviously that it makes you feel a little bit more legitimate. So you can say, yes, I didn't have anything to do with this game. I didn't do the art or the design, and I still love it. So hopefully other people will as well. But I think in whatever situation, hopefully you've got the game at a point where you're able to really analyze who is this for, who is going to enjoy it, and be confident about showing it off, as Natalia says. Sorry,
yeah.
I keep calling you Natalia because that's how I know you.
That is
But
Natalia is totally fine. I only shorten it to Nat because most people struggle with the long ones.
okay, do you have a preference? That's all.
No.
Okay.
Anything.
So I was worried now that you put yourself down as Nat that I'm being a bit overly
No, totally fine.
formal or anything. Like
Totally
I'm saying,
fine.
oh, we are not friends. I'm only calling you Natalia. I will never call you that because we're not friends.
Yeah.
So at a convention, it's a completely different scenario where you've got your table. This has been paid for and booked and arranged, so you've got the best case of people coming through. And it's, do you have demo tips for people who are doing something like that for the first time? And what I personally struggle with is I was talking about all the conventions I'm going to be at this year, and I think the ones that I struggle with the most are the really small ones, like Herefordshire Mega May charity events, which is now being called Here for Board Games, because you can't just stand behind your table all day and expect people to come over. Actually leaving the table, even from the well, firstly, it's kind of nice to go around and see everything else, but secondly, it's actually helpful to only be there for so long. And I'm going to go to the Friendly Board Gamer event in February after I come back from Leipzig. But I'm trying to work out in my mind, like, how much time do I stay at the table? How much time do I just wander around? And how do you find that balance at a smaller convention?
I'm still learning it, I have to be honest, because it is like you do want to get to, like, connections in this industry. I found is everything, so that's why you want to get to know everybody, and you want them to know you, because yeah, it's just really, really helpful. But and I think the other thing is, especially at a small convention, you pretty much have to hunt people down. So it's going out and going up to people and asking them like, hey, I've got a game for you. Do you want to like we would need 4 people. You want to try this one? And then yeah, so hopefully we can drag enough people together. And it's a really interesting one, because if it's a very anticipated game like Flamecraft, it's very, very easy, because you pretty much have to almost disappoint people like, oh, sorry, this is as many players we can have. We cannot have a 7th, 8th, 9th player in the table. Next round you'll be able to do it. But when something is not that well known, you kind of have to be able to sell it to them, especially because people want to like bounce around and do everything in the same time, and then just tell them that like somehow sell it to them that this is going to worth their 1 hour 45 minutes, whatever, because they're going to have fun. So yeah,
it's definitely a challenge. I mean, Flamecraft is an exception. I think it's one of these games that everyone who's a board game hobbyist will have probably heard of this. And I think that there's so many people who are, oh, what's this? This is cute. And even if you don't think it's necessarily the game for you, there's a lot of curiosity. I think that I am benefited by the fact that most of my games are very short. And so I can honestly say, yes, if you've got 5 minutes, I can play a game about quickly matching words to pictures, but never words to words or pictures to pictures. It will take me about 20 seconds to get you started. Maybe I'll be explaining more of the rules as we go on, but it's all probably total about 3 minutes. If you've got 5 minutes, we absolutely have enough time. And I can say that honestly. And so it's a very low demand on people. If they're like, I've never heard of Bez. What kind of games does Bez make? I can't trust her to make good games. Then, but hopefully they sit down and then they have fun and they're like, okay, maybe I'll play something else. Okay, maybe I'll play something else. And then at that point, maybe if I say, oh yes, would you like to play Dwindle? It's a 1-player game. It won the 2022 LDEC design contest. Then they're like, okay, well, I've never heard of the contest, but it won it, so it must not be terrible, presumably. But it is, I think you're right about going out and exploring. And we've had a lot of chats about, Jess can't remember the name of the game. Sate and Alex are talking about what a marathon in bed might be like. Got to be careful of hitting the wall. Yes, I don't mind you shortening my name. Alex suggests getting those wearable trays like the theatre and cinema, and I've totally seen that, where someone actually, it was Ben Downton, who was on the show before, had their game literally on their back. So the game was fixed to their back, so they wandered around Spiel, and people would say, oh, what's that? And they say, oh, it's my game. Do you want to play it? So I can explain it. If you grab someone else, then the two of you can play this. And that was interesting. And Jess, that sounds lovely. I'm very up for playing games, exploring, and eating. Lots of love to you. But yeah, it's been an absolutely delightful chat. I'm noticing that we're getting towards the end of the hour. It's just passed a lot faster than I expected. Let's take a slight step back. And one thing that I like to ask people, just to get an idea of who they are, is if you had to pick a few favorite games that you would choose to take to present. Let's say you were traveling to a country a few thousand miles away. Let's say you were going to Thailand. What games would you take with you if you could only pick this many games like this? So you've got about 1 ticket to ride Flamecraft size box. Let's say you've got 2 of those box sizes. What would you take with you?
I think I would definitely take Cluster, because you can play that one. Thank you. Oh, that would be great. Because you can play Cluster with everyone. I mean, my rugby player cousin who never played a board game in his life loved it. So you can play Cluster everywhere. I would probably take another quick one. And that would be probably a quick game about counting cats.
Shapes and colors, that keeps getting trickier.
Yes, because
Awesome.
it's got an extra layer to it, but it's quick and it's quick to learn and it's quick to teach. And these were quite small, so I think I have space for one more, which let's go a little bit heavier, but still on the tiny box size. And I'm just looking at my games here. I think I would take one of the tiny epics, maybe tiny epic zombies, because that longer, tiny box though, but it takes more time. That does have many different options of what way do you want to play, cooperative, competitive, whatever. Yeah, and you can have a game night out of it. So yeah, out of tiny boxes, I would think I would take those three.
That sounds like a good mixture. So you've got cluster, which is about placing magnets, and then detention of, oh, will the magnets link together? And it's a surprisingly delightful game, full of tension and moments of joy. And then a game about counting cat shapes and colors that keeps getting trickier. Obviously, I'm biased, but it's something that I think is super approachable. You can teach to anyone, and the self-balancing means that other people can get involved in the game. And Tiny Epic Zombies, it's one that I've not played yet, but I have played Tiny Epic Kingdoms and the Star one, and anyway, but like they do always try to put a bigger box feel into a smaller box, which I massively respect Gamelin Game for what they're doing. And Xate says Xate would want to take the crew.
Yeah.
Just as we finish up, if anyone has any last questions, get them in the next few seconds. So Jess asks, would Natalia give me a couple of days off training for myself for my period? So Natalia, I think what Jess wants is kind of legitimacy and validation from an external source.
Totally allowed to. I mean, that's a female thing. It hits you really hard sometimes. It depends on some people are luckier with it, some people are very unlucky with it. And if it hits you hard, you have to stay in bed. You have to stay in bed. That is, yeah. That is one of the things.
Tiny Epic Galaxies is still my favourite of the series, and I can't remember what PCOS means, but
wait, polycystic ovary syndrome. It's that means it's a thing that some things hit you a little bit harder whenever it comes to hormonal and
yeah, it's listen to your body, and I think
give yourself time. Like honestly, I'm totally in for. I'm not gonna push anybody if they call me with, oh, listen, I feel a little bit exhausted. I don't know, headache, migraine, whatever hits people. Fine, catch up later.
It's been an ups, and Jess says thank you. You're absolutely welcome, Jess. And at this point, I've asked you lots of questions. Natalia, I would like you to ask me something that you would like to ask me and potentially anyone watching who is willing to also answer. What is our question of the day? Question of the day. Here's another question before we go on our way. Question of the day with Nat.
So, well, the most exciting thing about what is happening to you, I think, is you're preparing to move to Thailand. So, do you have a place where you're going to go to? Have you got things sorted? How is it going? How is the preparation going?
Well, I posted on a Facebook group for people who live in Bangkok about, hey, does anyone like board games? I would like to come, and I'm keen to work out if there's any playtesting groups or if there's people who'd be willing to join a playtesting group. And I after I discovered some places, I found out that there's free board game cafes within 30 minutes walk of each other. And so I'm going to be living somewhere in the middle of that. And I discovered an Airbnb that, because it's an Airbnb, it's maybe a bit more expensive than it should be for what it is, like for even if you pay for a whole month. But I figured, okay, that's a place that I could stay straight away and then try and sort myself out afterwards and try and explore what's going. Um,
Nice.
say I can't remember. I'll find it again. I've not taken any notes. I'm going to do all the preparation like after my leaving party. I'm going to do it last minute. You know me. Don't expect me to do things in advance. Say it says if you were giving a gift to someone in China and you could pick between Hyperborea, Mountains of Madness, and Otis, which game do you send? Um, I not played those. I'm going to say Mountains of Madness, just arbitrarily. If you were just looking for someone else to say something, and but at this point, and congratulations, Jess, as and I loved what you said earlier, Natalia, about it's not how you look, it's not about your weight, it's about how you feel and what you're able to do. At this point, I like to ask everyone over to you, what are you up to? You can share what's if you want to. Personally, I've got my friend coming over in half an hour, so I'm going to set up time stories. I'm going to cut up some beans for lunch. We're going to have what I've started doing is steaming rice, but then I put vegetables on top of the rice in the same pan. Sometimes I even put a tea bag in. It's quite exciting. Yeah,
Okay, good idea.
it's my own invention. I just like kind of interesting flavors. And so just chucking in some onions and beans in there afterwards. And then in a separate pan, going to be doing some tinned white chicken, just heat it up. It's a simple lunch. Like my friend doesn't need anything super fancy, but just to keep us going while we play through time stories. Tonight, I'm hoping to go to Sainsbury's, replace my scissors, start doing some stuff that needs to be done with posting and yeah, talking about emails. I might be seeing Lucky Duck Games at Nuremberg Toy Fair, so I've got my game. Well, I heard that they said, yeah, we're not really keen on real time games, but the way you've described it, we're going to give it to go anyway. So it's my new game. It's a bag building action programming game about dungeon combat, and you are trying as quickly as you can. Everyone takes tiles out of their bag at the same time and tries to make the best pattern, but each tile has different actions on it. So you need to be quick thinking. So we'll see what happens to that. I'm basically getting ready for Nuremberg and London Toy Fair. That's what I'm doing. What are you up to? What's everyone else up to? What are you? And Jess says a tea bag. I love Bez. There's only one Bez. Sates is also excited for Nuremberg. And Natalia, what are you excited for? What are you up to today?
Today I have an admin day, so that's going to be a fairly boring one. But I am excited about, well, there's a couple of conventions upcoming, well, in the next few months. So I'm excited about those. First time going to be in Aircon, and I'm really looking forward to that. For today, what I'm excited about is finally I'm out back from the dead, and I can get in touch with a few board game stores again. Let's see if I can schedule some demos for the rest of January, because it would be really, really nice. In all fairness, that's my excuse to visit in different board game stores. So some people might get a few emails from me today about, "Hi, I'm back. Would you like me to go and demo a couple of new games for you?"
I mean, I feel like I didn't realize that it was an open thing, so I feel like I should explore this. And if someone is watching, and whether it's Jess or Alex or Xate, are they looking for more people in the UK or Germany or Thailand? Do you know if Lucky Duck is looking for that?
Oh, actually, yeah, that is going to be a thing of, I'm sure they are and they will, because this is a fairly new program. Like they started it last February in the UK, the brand ambassador program. But I think they are looking to expand it because, well, I'm located in Bristol. there's many areas of the UK that are not covered yet. So it's the kind of watch this space thing, because obviously me as a contractor cannot say anything for sure, but I know that there are places that need to be covered. So yeah, it's and I would love to have more brand ambassadors who I can talk to and who we can share experiences with, because I learned a lot, and I'm sure other people doing the same have learned a lot from their thing. And I know that people in the States are doing it, in France and Canada. So yeah.
So presumably you're in touch with them through Facebook, and you've
We've got a Discord chat group. So yeah, Lucky Duck Games has a Discord, and then within that, the ambassadors have a chat group, and then we try to talk through that. It's obviously been quite quiet over the Christmas and New Year period because everybody was away and celebrating. But yeah, that's where we share experiences.
And yeah, Jess is just relaxing, watching videos. Alex is building a tabletop simulator mod and testing it later. That sounds good. And yeah, I am also having a follow-up chat with Rory, who's helping me design the thing for Now Play This. And I hope that everyone out there has a wonderful day full of joy and productivity. I wish the best for everyone. Alex says Chronicles of Crime is one of my very favorites. Love a good mystery. And at this point, I'm going to recap and wrap up before we finish up. So to recap and wrap up, we chatted about strength training, how it's not about what I can see in the mirror, but about what I can do, which I love that quote. Talked about me making a Now Play This game about love with wool, about early starts, and having to get up at 5 to be ready for the studio for everyone doing their pre-work workout, playing Cat Rescue and Oros, the brilliance of scented candles with curious scents, not just vanilla, but something like new board game smell, just weird scents that you think, oh, that's. And we talked about Alex Berry and Rivers of London wanting to be a shark, being able to lift 100 kilos or 20 kilos, like one-handed, like this, as a kettlebell. Just talking about as a strength training, like do whatever you can, no matter how small. And about Nat's diet is mainly protein veg, but allowing yourself a treat as long as you don't do it all the time, basically. About early memories of a grandparent bringing these big bags of grain, telling small child to don't touch that button, and of course, then going on to lose a fingernail and having bandages for weeks. About the joy of Monopoly, a little bit about that, and about frustration, which is also known as sorry, or who laughs at the end, using its Hungarian title. We talked about wanting to be a marine biologist, but then realizing that that's not for you because you don't get to see people, about enjoying Munchkin, but really falling in love with Istanbul around 2017, just over 5 years ago, thinking, yes, more of this, please. And demoing stuff, finding out about this opportunity, going to shops where you need to work with the space because sometimes you just don't have the space that you want, and making sure that you push a little bit, make sure to reach out to the people. It's down to the confidence, and you can learn the confidence. I mean, I think that's something that we kept talking about. Hunt people down. If you were to go international, you would personally take Cluster, which is a good game. I might take that as well. A game about counting cat shapes and colors that keeps getting trickier. I might take that as well. And Tiny Epic Zombies, which I'm not going to be buying new games to take, but like I might try it at some point. And we talked about planning things for the future for Aircon and all the delightful stuff coming up. If you want to check me out, then obviously I am Stuff by Bez in all of the places. You can check out future streams. Tomorrow I'll be doing a mechanical overview as I continue exploring all the types of auctions with Alan Paul. And if you want to check out Nat, where do you like to be found?
Yeah, I think anything, my main board gaming stuff is on Instagram. So that's the cardboard and iron. Very silly name that I chose for myself, but yeah, that's my main. Yeah, but, and anything that's board games. I'm I'm more active in Facebook chat groups than anywhere else, but but yeah, I think the Instagram is the best one. And then obviously the guys I work for, Lucky Dog Games. Yeah, that's my dog. And Strong Club is, well, Strong Club Bristol. That's my studio, so that's where I train people. Yeah, so pretty much that is me.
And Sate today is training a new mod for Board Game Arena who's super impressive and has done TED Talks on cryptology. That sounds awesome. Jess, I'm glad you liked the quote. And apparently, Jess's last trainer made her send the trainer photos, which seems not great. Yeah, I like focusing on enjoying the lifestyle. I think that's the key thing. Everything has to work within your lifestyle. Jess claims that Jess can lift me. We haven't
Nice.
conducted the test.
I have to see that. I have to see a picture of that.
Can talk about anything. Learning confidence, and yeah, Alex says they must really like crypt. Yeah, very good. So much love to everyone. Thank you for being here, and mm, share, spread the word. But thanks for watching. Thanks to anyone watching after the fact. If you have any questions for myself or Nat, I respond to everything that all respectful questions that I see. And if there's something that you want to address to Nat, I will pass it on myself. And other than that, I don't think there's anything left to say right now. I think that we have to say at this point, bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Do, bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, bye, everyone.
Bye.